STD is sexually transmitted diseases, or also known as sexually transmitted infections. It is generally acquired by sexual contact. The bacteria, viruses, or parasites that cause STD may pass from person to person. A person can contract an STD by having unprotected sex with someone who has the STD, but that doesn't mean sex is the only way STD are transmitted. Sometimes these infections can be transmitted non-sexually, such as from mother to their infants during pregnancy or childbirth, or through blood transfusions or shed needles. STD don't always cause symptoms. It's possible to contract STD from people who seem perfectly healthy and may not even know they have STD.
Next, we will talk about what are the causes of STD. Generally, by sexual contacts. STD can be caused by bacteria such as gonorrhea, syphilis and chlamydia, viruses such as HIV, genital herpes and HPV, and parasites such as trichomoniasis. There are also other kinds of infections such as hepatitis A, B and C, Shigella and Giardia that can be spread through sexual activities. STD also can be spread by non-sexually. For example, pregnant mothers who has infected virus. The virus can spread to the infants. Other than that, by blood transfusion and shared needles. Risk factors of STD are mostly by having unprotected sexual contacts with someone who has infected viruses such as HIV. For example, using improper or inconsistent of condoms. STD can occur by having multiple sex with different partners. This will result in high chances of bacteria or viruses that can be infected to both individuals. Shared needles with someone who has HIV is also a risk factor of STD since the needles can spread serious infections easily. Another infections like hepatitis B and C also can be spread by sharing needles.
Do you know the symptoms of STD? STD or sexually transmitted disease can have a range of signs and symptoms, including no symptoms. Symptoms of STD are sore of lump on genitals or in the oral area, pain during intercourse, painful or burning urination, unusual vaginal bleeding, and unusual discharge from penis, and lastly, lower abdominal pain.
So I will continue on how to prevent sexually transmitted disease, or also called as STD. Firstly, you have to avoid from having sex. It is the most effective way to prevent STD. Secondly, you have to know your partner. Please ensure that your partner is not infected by STD. The more partner you have, the higher chances of you getting infected by STD. Thirdly, you have to use new condoms every time you're having sex. It is recommended to use latex condoms to lower the breakage rates. Furthermore, you have to get tested before having sex. The reason is to know whether you are infected by STD or not. Lastly, you should avoid from drinking alcohol or taking drugs before having sex. It is because when you are under influence, you might have sex with someone unknown that you don't know whether he or she is infected by STD or not. Plus, it is difficult for you to practice safer sex when you are under influence.
Lastly is treatment of STD. STD can be treated in two ways, which are by antibiotics and antiviral drugs. Antibiotic is often in a single dose and can kill many sexually transmitted bacteria and parasitic infections such as syphilis and trichomoniasis. Once the person starts antibiotic treatment, it is necessary to finish the prescription. Next is antiviral drugs. Antiviral drugs is prescribed if the person has HIV. A person with HIV will have fewer herpes recurrences if they take daily suppressive therapy with a prescription antiviral drugs. Antiviral drugs can keep HIV infection in check for many years, but the person will still carry the virus and still can be transmitted with a lower risk.
As conclusion, sexually transmitted diseases is a disease that can pass from one person to another through sexual contact. STD can be cured with antibiotic if the treatment begins early, but viral STD cannot be cured. The best way to prevent STD is to educate our younger generation about sex education. This is because if our younger generation has been exposed in education about sex, it can avoid them from doing promiscuous sex, which is one of the causes of STD.